This radio program is PG-13. Parents strongly caution some material may be inappropriate for children under the age of 13.
The following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Phoenix, Maricopa County. This is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio. My silver anniversary is coming up next February. Thank you. Today's Bible study, Kervorkian has a clone. Today on Hardcore. Hey, call everybody you can and tell them the radio program's on. This radio show is going to blow your mind. I'll tell you that right now. This is Brother Mike. I am the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We're downtown. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. It's the red brick building. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website. All of our ministry services are on there. You will see we have 2 live services every Thursday and Friday for healing and deliverance. We have 3 live Zoom services every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday night for healing and deliverance. And our children's deliverance service is the first Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we have a healing service the last Friday of every month at 7 o'clock. Don't forget about my Sunday morning podcast. I visit with all my shut-ins and all my friends Sunday morning at 9 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Pacific Time. Remember Dr. Jack Kervorkian? Anybody happen to remember him? His actual name was Murad Jacob Kervorkian, and he died of, as you remember, in 2011. But back in the 90s, he was in the news constantly. An extremely popular person. He came up with this concept that people had the right to die with dignity. And it's a hot topic back then, like you wouldn't believe. But as I said on my radio program 10 years ago and 5 years ago, someday physician-assisted suicide in the United States and even euthanasia someday will be commonplace in this country, probably provided by the federal government and regulated by the same. And it's going to be big. It's going to be booming. It's a big business to get into. Not that I would ever invest in it. It's hard to believe. But I do understand physician-assisted suicide. I do understand euthanasia. And I do have sympathy and compassion for these poor people. If you're in the last stages of ALS or MS or MD, or you've been in a brain-dead coma at a hospital for years, or whatever it is, these horribly traumatic situations that are draining the families who love them and take care of them, physician-assisted suicide and or euthanasia appears to be a legitimate option. And that's what Dr. Kervorkian came up. They nicknamed him Dr. Death. You remember him back in the 90s? Man, he was pretty busy. He was helping people commit suicide left and right. He helped over 130 patients back then end their lives. Well, what happened was there was a public outcry for it. Back then, this concept wasn't, was very, very controversial. Now it isn't. I mean, California, Washington, and Oregon, for example, that's only 3 states or several others, already have now passed physician-assisted suicide laws. You can travel to another state. You can't in Arizona, but you can travel to another state, and if you provide the proper documentation and sign the proper release forms, you can have a physician assist you in terminating your life. Kervorkian, as you might remember, he was a very unsympathetic person, if you recall him from the 80s and 90s, kind of a homely looking guy. But I understood the guy's concept, and he did seem to have some compassion for people who were terminally ill. He didn't seem to be like a money-grubbing psycho like these TV preachers that we live with. But he was tried 4 times, as you remember, and he was acquitted the first 3 trials. The 4th trial, as you remember, ended in a mistrial. Then, in 1998, he was tried for the murder of a performing voluntary euthanasia on a guy named Thomas Uke. The poor guy was paralyzed. He had ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. And as you know, that's probably about the worst disease you can possibly have. It's unbelievable. Huntington's is right there with it. It's just awful. It's definitely a disease created by Satan. Anyway, he got convicted of second-degree murder, went to prison 8 years, got released early, got out on parole in 2007. I'm talking about Kervorkian now. You remember him. Well, Kervorkian now has a clone. My goodness, if you've ever heard of the German Society for Humane Dying, that's DGHS, if you're taking notes. Recently, 2 sisters got involved in physician-assisted suicide. And if you're an old-timer like me, I'm in my 70s, but back in the 50s and 60s, these 2 showgirls, Alice and Ellen Kessler, they were sisters. They weren't twins, but they very much looked alike. They were both beautiful. They were dancers and performers and showgirls. Both of them were like drop-dead gorgeous, and they got involved in the Hollywood scene, as you know, and they knew everybody. And then later on, these 2 sisters went into the variety entertainment business, which back in the 60s, as you know, was similar to, the people that run People magazine, that kind of thing. They highlighted the careers and lives of celebrities. Well, anyway, even Ed Sullivan had him on the show and paid a big tribute to him. It was a big deal back then. But anyway, these 2 got real old. Obviously, they were both pushing 90. And they wanted to die together and be buried together. And that's what happened. A doctor named Philip Nitschke from the United Kingdom is the number 1 proponent now and has replaced Dr. Kervorkian as the doctor of death worldwide. And his teachings and methods and seminars have been linked to about 90 people dying in the United Kingdom. He's pretty popular over there. He also created the Sarco suicide machine, which is a machine that you can, with assistance, you put on, and it drops a cyanide pill into some water, and then the person just gradually or gently slips off to the other side. And Nitschke also directs another campaign group called Exit International. And in this group here, he provides stuff on social media about how to commit suicide, what needs to be done to be able to do it, what the requirements are, all kinds of things. Gives you all kinds of information about physician-assisted suicide and or euthanasia, depending on what country you live in. And this guy makes big headlines. Big headlines. Some guy named Brett Taylor also found a bunch of clients that wanted to end their own lives. And he opened a business called End of Life Services. And he had actually hooked a guy up, a quadriplegic man in Australia who wanted to die, and he was instrumental in helping him get his physician-assisted suicide benefits. And this Nitschke guy is really interesting. He's the one that invented the Sarco gas chamber assisted suicide pod, the one I just mentioned. He also invented the the suicide collar. He's got a special collar you can put on, plug it in, hook it up, and so on, and it slowly brings on death. Physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia, it's a strange business to get in. Very, very weird. This sarco-suicide machine where the suicide capsule drops into the water, it's a home remedy, believe it or not. You don't even need to go to the hospital. Quite remarkable. But what's happening here is that life, adult human life, aging life, geriatric life, is now being considered as valueless as aborting babies. They're now playing God at both ends of human life now. Before they're born, they abort them, and when they become elderly and or totally disabled, they help the families get rid of the patients. And the danger, of course, is in euthanasia, as I predicted decades ago, 15 years ago. I think I had my first radio program on this subject, that euthanasia doesn't require the patient's permission. And that's happening all over the world now. And in Canada, for example, they are now offing people who are mentally ill. If you've got schizophrenia, bipolar, dissociative identity disorder, or you've got some other serious mental illness, borderline personality disorder, whatever you've got, if you're in Canada and you are a threat to society because of that illness, or you are causing all kinds of medical problems because of the illness, they can decide through a panel of physicians to end your life for you, whether you agree to it or not. That's euthanasia. Physician-assisted suicide, of course, requires the permission and the cooperation of the dying patient. And so what's happening is now, as you can see this thing going, as I predicted decades ago, that the human life is going to reach a point before the rapture that it has literally very expendable value, and that people are going to be literally useless and worthless to society when their contribution to society is over. The danger of it, of course, is offing people who don't fit into that category, whom you just simply don't like and don't want around. If you are sick or terminally ill and you need prayer, 602-636-5800, let's give the Holy Ghost a shot at this before we go with physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia. What do you think? I'm going to vote for the Spirit of the living God, for where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord raises up a standard against him. I'll see you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.